Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric here with Iraq Veteran 8888. Got a lot of videos coming your way. I apologize for my recent absence. I've had quite a few things going on, but I appreciate you guys sticking around. And I'm going to continue with not only my question series, I get quite a few questions from you guys to try to answer some of those things, but also lots of gunplay, lots of different content. Got a lot of things on the way, some 5 guns, gun gripes, you name it, we're doing it. I've got a huge list of things right here going on. However, big thanks for tuning back in, and we've got a really cool video we're going to be making today. And I was thinking of this question. This is actually a question I sort of posed. I was like, is there a such thing as the perfect shotgun? What would the perfect shotgun be? And I realized, kind of in retrospect, thinking about a lot of the things that I've done on this channel over the years, we've shown off a heck of a lot of shotguns. I've done a lot of work with shotguns, maybe even more so than rifles and pistols. It's kind of wild to look back at all the crazy shotguns that we've done videos on over the years. The Fostech Origin, the Benelli M4. We've got a Beretta 1301 in that we're about to do a video on. I mean, of course, the Mossberg 900 series, the 930, the 940. We've done the SLP from FN. I mean, gosh, I've shot the AA-12. I mean, I've ran a lot of random shotguns, semi-autos, pumps, singles, vintage singles, black powder shotguns. I mean, you name it, we've shot them. And that does, lead one to the question, like, what would be the perfect shotgun? What criteria does it need to meet? So let's talk about that a little bit. Before we get started, I would like to thank our friends at Sonoran Desert Institute for supporting our videos here on YouTube. If you're looking for a career in gunsmithing technology, they're a great go-to source, great distance learning programs, awesome curriculum, wonderful instructors. They'll definitely point you in the right direction. They got some amazing drone programs, lots of things on the business side. They'll teach you how to properly run a gun business, how to run your FFL. Really great group of people. Check them out, Sonoran Desert Institute. Tell them Eric sent you. And a big thanks to them for being a long-term supporter of the channel. So shotguns are a chameleon tool that are very useful for a wide variety of different purposes. The thing about shotguns, as I've talked about in the past, is when we think about shotguns, we always think about payload. We think about what a shotgun can shoot. I mean, look at Teo Flairdemas, okay? He's always shooting all kind of random stuff out of his shotguns, right? That's to show you just how crazy. I mean, if it'll fit down that barrel, you can shoot it out of a shotgun. It makes it a very useful tool. I've done a couple of educational videos that I'm going to put some links down to in the description box below if you want to go down the rabbit hole and learn more. For instance, I did a video on shotgun color codes. I've done a video kind of breaking down the different shotgun loads and showing what the shot looks like removing it and showing you the inside of the payload. But suffice it to say, some of you are probably not new to shotguns, but some of you may be. So I'll put those resources down in the description box below if you want to learn more about shotguns. I also did an episode where I talked about shotgun actions, single shot, semi-auto, pump, convertibles, you name it. We've done videos about it. I'm not going to bore you to tears talking about the different action types, but if you're unfamiliar and uninitiated when I say pump or semi, if you don't know what that means, there's a video down in the description box below that will point you to the right information. You can go absorb that information and then come back and you'll know the lingo. That was actually not a complaint, but a comment that I got from a lot of people. Is like, well, Eric, you end up using this lingo in your videos, and we don't know what you mean when you use an acronym or a shortened abbreviation or something like that. So I get it. There are sometimes some confusing terms, but for the purposes of today's video, I'm assuming most of you guys know the basic shotgun action types, and we'll just kind of quickly go over. So we're talking a single shot shotgun. Right, a breech-loaded shotgun, whether it's like a Martini Henry style, like the Greener GP, or whether it's just like a little H&R break action or a Henry. There's a lot of different single-shot shotguns out there. Those shotguns have their use and their purpose and their utilitarian flair. All right, then we step up to maybe like a double, all right, whether it's an over and under or side-by-side. Doubles have their uses. Then you have pump action, which is what we have right here. This is a police trade-in Mossberg 500 that I paid $200 barking dollars for. We're going to get back to this in a second. Then you have semi-autos, which step up the firepower. Generally, you're going to have similar capacity going from pump to semi, but the shotgun is self-loading. So just like any other semi-auto pistol or rifle, you have a self-loading shotgun, which of course would be referred to as a semi-auto. That gives you fast follow-up shots. That gives you, generally helps kind of soak up some of the recoil too. And, in certain systems, I mean, the Benellis are really good about being soft shooting guns. So on and so forth. There's varying shotgun technologies. So to answer the question, what is the perfect shotgun? Look, I prefer semi-autos. That's just me. Now, this is all going to depend on your needs. Well, why would I prefer a semi-auto over a pump? Because I don't really care if I'm going to be shooting a breaching load or a birdshot load or some low-powered beanbag or something. Now, this police shotgun is great because you can load whatever you want in this thing. A pump action can load whatever the heck you can put in it because you don't need the power of the shell to run the action. You run the action every shot when you shoot it. And of course, who doesn't love the sound of a pump action shotgun? Let's hear that one more time. Oh yeah, there's nothing beats that, right? And especially this Crown grade action, this older 500A is smooth as butter. Sorry about that. So I think that pump actions serve a purpose that if you need a chameleon shotgun that can do anything, you can throw anything in a pump and it's always going to work. I prefer semis because I don't care about the ability of the gun to accept, a wide variety of different loads. I'm really only running, for my purposes, buckshot and slugs, namely slugs. I have a Benelli Super Black Eagle with a 28-inch barrel. It has a 3.5-inch Magnum chamber. I run high brass 2 3/4 slugs out of that gun, and I put a big old Nordic Components extension on that gun, and it holds I think a cartoonishly large amount of shells, like 14 rounds or something. That's more my speed. I don't care about being able to maneuver a shotgun in a small environment because, my house is pretty wide and open. There's not a lot of crap in the way. I've got some decent sized hallways, decent length. So I don't mind maneuvering a longer shotgun. I prefer to have the firepower of the slugs and be able to shoot through walls and whatever the heck I want because I don't have to worry about collateral damage. It's just me and my girlfriend. Everyone has their own individual needs. They're going to determine what the perfect shotgun would be for them. Is there a perfect universal shotgun? Yes, I'm holding it. A pump action. A Mossberg 500, Remington 870. I tend to sort of lean towards the Mossberg over the Remington. They're both good though. I have a couple of Remington 870s. My dad actually has custodianship of a Marine Magnum. A Remington Marine Magnum, which is an 870 with a Marine finish, and I have a Mossberg Mariner with the Marine finish here that I keep at the house here. It's on the wall back there. It may be right behind me here over my shoulder. But that particular shotgun is great, and it is a high cap model. Now this is a 500A that just has the shorter tube. But it also has kind of a nice short length with the, basic 18-inch barrel. This is a great shotgun. And, I think that if I could only point my finger at one universally perfect shotgun, it would have to be a pump action shotgun because you still have the follow-up shots. You still have the additional capacity that you'll get in the semi-auto. But there are two very distinctive things that you get out of the pump that you're not going to get out of the semi-auto. One is that pumps are generally cheaper and more affordable. Like I said, this police trade-in is $200. Two, a lot of people are not really shotgun people. So it might be hard to convince a normie or just regular person out on the street who maybe is doing good to own a rifle and a pistol to convince them to buy a shotgun. Most people don't really view shotguns as being an incredibly useful tool. Of course, I've made many videos to try to argue the fact of why shotguns are actually quite superior in many ways. But if someone is, if we're talking someone having a shotgun or not having a shotgun, I would rather them have a police trade-in Mossberg 500 for $200 that they actually own and have the coin to buy than a $2,000+ Benelli that they may goo-goo and gaga at it every time they go to the gun store, but realistically, they're never going to truly see the value in trying to buy that gun if they're not a hardcore gun guy, right? So in terms of being accessible, I would say a pump shotgun that makes it the ideal shotgun. You still have the follow-up shots. You still have the capacity, depending on the barrel length and model that you get. okay? And you have the ability to put whatever load you can find in it. Let's face it, most people that buy a shotgun are probably going to buy some birdshot loads. And as much as I hate to say this, a lot of people will defend their home with birdshot loads. Look, at close range, birdshot's going to be highly uncomfortable. There's been some tests. Jeff Quinn over at Gun Blast did, rest his soul, he passed away not too long ago. So Jeff Quinn did some tests where he shot some, I think, turkeys and things with birdshot, frozen turkeys at close range with birdshot, to show that it actually is not going to be pleasant, okay? Because the shot does not have a lot of time to actually disperse and spread out if you're really danger close. And it hits kind of like a slug in a way. Now, of course, it doesn't penetrate like a slug, but, you know, a high-end birdshot load can still dissuade even the most determined foe. Do I think you should defend your house with a birdshot load? No, I don't. I think you should use at least a number 4 buck or something like that. But to each their own. The point I'm making is that people will buy a shotgun and then they'll just buy some birdshot and they go, well, that's what my Uncle Bob always put in his shotgun. So, and they don't know that there's a such thing as solids. There's a such thing as buckshot. There's a such thing as heavier payloads. They don't really think about the payload. They just think, oh, it says 12 on it. I'll just put it in the gun and, you know, I'm just run whatever cheap 7.5 or a number 8 birdshot load I can find at Walmart. I suppose that's better than nothing, but to realize the full power and potential of the shotgun, you also have to couple it with the correct load. And I think for home defense, a number 4 buckshot load is going to be a good choice. 2 3/4, like if I think this gun has a 3-inch chamber. Most Mossbergs have a 3-inch chamber. Yeah, this one will shoot 3-inch shells. A 3-inch number 4 buck is going to be a solid contender. And depending on the model of gun and the way that the magazine tube is designed and the way it's sprung and the type of follower, you might not even lose capacity going from a 2 3/4 to a 3-inch. Some models, yeah, you might lose 1 round going from the 2 3/4 to a 3-inch in terms of your capacity. It might hold 6 2 3/4, but only 5 3-inch shells. I recommend, you know, hey, if a 3-inch number 4 buck is a pretty solid load. That doesn't have a blistering amount of recoil, but still offers a good amount of power at combat ranges, but also limiting the potential for over-penetration in a household environment, especially if you live in an apartment dwelling where you have neighbors that could be no telling where around you. Shotguns become an attractive option because they do limit the over-penetration as you get the smaller buckshot sizes. We've done a lot of testing with drywall penetration with buckshot in the number 4, and that number 4 does pretty good. It still is going to have good visceral effect on fleshy medium, but then if you miss, you know, your shot, or if a few of the pellets don't hit the intended target, chances are that it's going to be limited the amount of drywall that actually penetrates. That makes them good for abovements such as apartments or in any abovement really. So just keep those things in mind. I still am going to go back to my original suggestion. I think semi-autos are superior because I like a fast follow-up shot with heavy combat loads. That's just me. But universally, what is the perfect shotgun? Pump action, baby. All right, Hollywood's right on that. Okay, that's one area I'm going to say that if you could only have one shotgun, a pump action is definitely going to be your ticket, especially if you want to not really have to spend a bunch of money out the gate. A pump action is a great sort of gateway drug to getting into something, you know, maybe later as you become more of a shotgun aficionado and you want to get into a semi, you can. But my vote is for a nice police trade-in, Mossberg or something like that you can get for a low amount of money, stick some buckshot in it, and move on with life. Okay, that's me. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Many more videos on the way. We'll see you soon.